Alright guys, it's Master here, and it's time to talk StarCraft. Today we're going to be talking crisis management, particularly in the early and mid-game, in those defining moments where you're facing an attack where you think, if this doesn't go right, I might lose. A crisis situation is naturally going to demand more focus and attention on micro than you'd normally have, which means there's going to be less action, less focus available for less critical actions. However, where most new players go wrong is they overfocus on the crisis and forget everything else. So the first thing we want to think about here is prioritizing critical tasks. Not only, we obviously need to micro against the attack. However, there are some critical things you also need to do during attacks. These are usually making SCVs, producing units, and perhaps building some production facilities. So let's talk about how do we do this. The first thing is don't over micro. Not only will this overwhelm your attention, you can also just end up running your units around not doing anything. A lot of people, they get attacked and they just click like crazy, not doing anything useful. Dragoons, for instance, have a bit of an attack delay, and I've seen many players click so fast with their Dragoons that they actually start to fire with the Dragoon and then cancel the attack over microing. So micro, but don't go crazy. And then the final part of this is you need to keep some attention elsewhere. Now you can watch the battle almost the whole time, but this involves using hotkeys. You need a good hotkey setup, and you need to train yourself to press like 0S or 0P to produce those workers during the attack and to make units out of your production facilities during the attack. If you watch my minerals here, you notice they'll drop, and you notice I just cycled to my command centers and made a few SCVs. I did this without taking my eyes off the battlefield. I microed the whole time, but I just kind of cycled over with my hand and pressed 0S, my hotkeys I like for SCVs, or 0P for probes or 4S or whatever you like. You have to have those hotkeys set up, and you have to train yourself to just cycle through them naturally under pressure so that you keep making the workers. This will allow you not to fall apart and to still have an economy and units behind your attack. And this really is the critical differentiator in early game tense situations between beginner players and mid-tier players and high-tier players. A high-tier player, an A player, an S player especially, if they get attacked and they are microing for their life, you're not going to see their money get high. You'll not see a pro player bank 500 minerals or 1,000 minerals in the early game. If you watch a newer player, almost always that will happen. Their money will just shoot up and up and up, and then they'll be completely behind because their opponent was attacking and was comfortable attacking. It wasn't a crisis for them. And so they spent their money consistently. And now, even though the player that was getting attacked did a great defense, they didn't make anything, and they're down, their opponent has twice their supply, and they've more or less lost the game just because they didn't make stuff. So if you can focus on training yourself to use those hotkeys during the attack and staying calm and not over microing, you'll find that your early game is much better, and you're not coming out of these attacks and having this feeling, wow, I defended the attack, but I feel really behind. Hopefully this clears up some mystery on what to focus in the early game, and put this into practice, and you'll see some huge dividends in your play. And as always, if you guys found the video helpful, please smash that like button and subscribe.